Meeting of the Architectural Review Committee to order. If we could go ahead and take roll call.
Committee Member Hunter.
Present.
Chair Polly.
Present.
Committee Member Sanders.
Present.
Committee Member Turgeon.
Present.
And we have Committee Member Palmer currently absent. Staff today, we have Planning Manager Hill, Principal Planner Roveri, Principal Planner Sabdo, Senior Associate Schmidt, and myself, Recording Secretary Argenbright. Information on participating in this meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is on this meeting's agenda, which is online at monterey.gov/agendas. Remote commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak, and a timer will be shown on the screen. If you are connected on Zoom, the timer is accurate with no delay. In the chamber, we recommend keeping phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference with the meeting. Thank you for participating in your city government.
All right, thank you. And we'll go ahead and open up the consent agenda. The only item we have is the minutes from our previous meeting. Yep. All right.
Check for public comment. There are no attendees online currently.
All right. Any committee member comments on the minutes?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All those opposed? Okay. Right. The records show that committee member Palmer has joined the meeting. Right. Tardy. Yes. Just want that on the record.
Don't add that to the minutes.
Yeah, I'm done. I never have to speak again. All right. So are there any public comments for items not on the agenda?
There are still no attendees online currently.
All right. So that concludes our consent agenda and public comments. We'll go ahead to our first appearance.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Chris Schmidt. I'm a Senior Associate Planner for the City of Monterey, and I've been working with the applicant on this project at 17 Antelope Lane. This is a proposal for first and second story additions and a new accessory structure, a gazebo in the rear yard. And just to start with the recommendation, staff recommends that the ARC adopt a resolution approving the architectural review permit. Here we see the subject property is zoned R120 with the D1 overlay. That's our design review overlay, essentially. And it also has a low density residential general plan designation, which is the single family general plan land use. And just here's a basic project description. The first floor addition would be about 227 square feet. Second floor is 82 square feet. The new gazebo is 168 square feet. And there's also new exterior materials proposed, siding, new windows, new paint scheme. And we received this application as a result of tree damage. A fairly large pine, I believe it was a pine, fell on the home. And typically, if the home is being built back to its original condition, that would really only require a building permit. However, the owners use this opportunity to expand the home and do some additional improvements. Here we see a site plan on the left and survey on the right. So you can see the footprint of the additions at the rear here. So there's an expansion towards the rear of the first and second floor. And here's the location of the gazebo. Oops. There's also this new entryway that's I've shown highlighted on that proposed front elevation at the top left there. They're adding this new kind of gable walkway. And here is the expansion as viewed from the side elevation. Again, it is an expansion for both. So it actually, the existing second floor kind of goes to here, and then the whole plane of the home would move back a little bit. You can also see that there are some changes in terms of siding, where they have currently horizontal lap siding. There's new board and bat siding proposed at the second story. And because the expansion of the second floor results in an increase in floor area, the actual height of the roof will increase slightly. And here are the other elevations, the rear elevation at the top and the other side elevation on the bottom. And here are the proposed colors and materials. So we have a couple of different new materials that I already had mentioned, but there's also new windows, a black vinyl window, black bean, in fact, as well as a new paint color, this urbane bronze. And then they've also shown in the rear yard, they're proposing new pavers adjacent to the gazebo structure. And then here's the gazebo structure itself. This would be the style. So in order to approve the permit, the ARC has to make 4 findings. The first is that the proposed siding, form, mass, and architectural style are appropriate. Staff made this finding. The alterations are compatible with the neighborhood and the existing dwelling. It's compatible with the existing of a ranch style, and it includes the continuation of that varied roof line look and different articulation with their new exterior materials. The second finding is that the views, privacy, and living environment are not unreasonably impaired. The existing building was already pretty far set back from the side property lines. The additions would be a continuation of that setback on the sides, and then from the rear, it's pretty far set back from the rear lot line. So staff was able to make the finding that there would really be fairly limited view of privacy or living environment impairments. And then the accessory structure is fairly low in height. It's about 10 feet, 10 foot 1 inch, and it is sited in the rear yard and should not really have any sort of impact on neighbors. The third finding is that the project is consistent with city plans and design guidelines. There are no area plans that apply to this area, and so the staff's really just looking at this as an improvement to a single family use, which is compatible with the land use designation in the general plan. And the proposed design does include high quality design and materials compatible with the character of the neighborhood. Lastly, the exterior finish, colors, materials, and all other features are appropriate. Staff was able to make this finding. So with that, staff recommends approval of the project. Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions of staff? Nope. All right, would the applicant like to make a few comments?
Hi, I'm Bill Met. Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Bill Mefford. I'm the architect for the Hurtados. Back in December, as you saw, a tree fell on the house, and they decided to take the ability, because basically most of the second floor walls and the rear of the house have to be rebuilt. So they took the opportunity to add on. In addition, the second floor, the existing plate height where the wall meets the roof is at 7 feet, and we're raising it to 8 feet just so it's more standard with normal construction of the day. The materials, the existing siding is a fiberboard lap siding, which basically falls apart. And so we're replacing it with hardy siding. All of the material, both the board and batten and the horizontal siding are hardy siding, which are fire resistant or retardant, whatever, how you want to say it. So that it is more compliant with the wildfire and urban interface standards. If you have any questions, I'm open to them.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you.
I do have one question.
Okay.
How long have you been waiting for this hearing?
Oh gosh, several months, I believe. And I don't know if was going back and forth, or I can't. I honestly don't remember. It's been a while.
So, and it's, how long has it been since any changes were made to the plan?
There's a date on the plan that should say the last May 14th.
Okay. So it's been several months that you've been waiting for this hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted that on record.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead and open it up for discussion. Oh, yeah. Doesn't look like there's anybody in the room that wants to make a comment. Is there anybody online?
No, there are still no attendees online.
All right, with that, we'll open it up for committee comments.
Well, just continuing in the vein that I was trying to get at, everything's consistent. There are objective enough standards, design standards that this is compliant with. I think this is a great example of why certain applications could be ministerial process. I don't see any reason why not to approve this. And I hope in the future, projects like this can save time and money for applicants so that staff can just take care of it. Although sometimes there might be design aspects that are worth looking at. In this case, if there are standards that are complied with, not sure why we have to look at it at all.
Yeah, and I don't think that's necessarily a knock on staff at all.
No.
I think it's just, not intended. You guys are going slow or anything. No, it's not that at all. It's just as we go into this phase where we're looking at just abolishing this whole committee and going to the planning commission, like the city needs to be taking a look at, what projects really need public hearings. And I'm sure there's a reason somewhere in, the ordinance that says some change here has to go to just the types of things that we need to look at.
But yeah, of course, you guys are more than competent to check this.
Yeah.
You already have. And I hope that as you get a chance to restructure how what ends up at planning commission and the consolidated version of our committees, to make this easier for yourselves, save time for everybody.
Sure. And I'll just note that that's not proposed to change at this moment. There's obviously a conversation happening at the council level about consolidation of this committee with the planning commission, but the changes that are being described here are procedural and are codified elsewhere in the code. So under the changes that are being considered by council now, the process wouldn't change, just the group in which who would be considering these types of items would change. But your comments are noted, and obviously staff is looking at ways to streamline this as well. But those would be undertakings that would happen under a different ordinance action.
And this is here because it's a second story modification in a
Second story design review neighborhood.
So in order for there to be changes in the process, like for example, if all the proposal is consistent with every zoning requirement, and this looks like pretty limited structural improvements, if who would approve that? Would that need to go to the public since it's a
Yeah, so each one of these design review neighborhoods is more or less established with the engagement and participation of the community in which they're located in, and yeah, before we would make or recommend any changes to reduce the review process and remove constraints, that we'd obviously want to have that participation with those communities once more.
Looks like a nice project to me. Sorry the tree fell on your house. That looks like it was quite a tree. It really took out that second story.
I'll move to approve ARC permit application ARP 25-0076 for 17 Antelope Lane.
I'll second that.
Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries.
And that is
Thank you.
appealable to the planning commission. Form is available online and in the planning office within 10 days.
Next up, we have consideration of 601 Franklin Street.
Yes, and as noted in the agenda packet, this item was noticed a little prematurely after it was publicly noticed and agendized. It was noticed by staff that there's some inconsistencies with the proposal and the sign guidelines and sign ordinance. So we provided that feedback to the applicant. They're going to make some revisions so that we can bring that a more consistent proposal before the committee. So staff is recommending that this item be continued to a date uncertain.
I move that we table or continue the sign permit application SI-25-0094 for 601 East Franklin Street until
I think we do still have to at least check for public comment. So we've got a motion on the table. We'll check for public comment real fast.
There are no attendees online.
Wonderful. Now I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the motion carries. And the final item on our agenda is confirm annual appointments for chair and vice chair.
Thank you. My name is Fernanda Roveri, Principal Planner for the City of Monterey. So the agenda packet is in front of you, hopefully, but I'll just summarize. So each July, the chair and vice chair positions rotate so that each member gets a chance to serve and to ensure the even distribution of power. To be eligible for the chair or vice chair positions, a member must have served for at least 6 months in the committee. And so based on appointment dates, committee member Turgeon is next in line for the chair position, followed by committee member Palmer. As such, staff recommends that the ARC appoint committee member Turgeon as the new chair and committee member Palmer as the vice chair. And that would be for a total of 1 year. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and you should take public comments first and then discuss and make a motion.
All right. Any questions of staff? Any member of the public like to comment?
There are still no attendees online.
All right. Like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the selection of committee member Turgeon as chairperson and committee member Palmer as vice chair for the next 12 months.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. That concludes our agenda. So are there any staff presentations?
No, nothing other than what's noted in the agenda packet. There's currently no items scheduled for the next ARC meeting, and our noticing deadline would be at the end of this week. So that's in all likelihood a canceled meeting. So
Great. All right, then we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting and we'll see you in a month.